There are legends round here, even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not dead. Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back. Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back to the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name's Isaiah. I'm joined tonight by Sean. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Awesome. Well, we're on episode, I believe this is episode 20, so we've made 20 episodes so far.
It's insane.
It is insane.
Feels like yesterday.
Something like that. Some days it seems like it's been forever.
Oh, well. We're still here, though. So.
Yep. We are still here, and we are in the middle of the Christmas season. I can't believe it's already the 15th. The month's half gone.
Thinking of the stuff I had to get, and then I was like, holy crap, man, it's too close. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time for everything.
It really is. It's going by way too quick. It's like, can the time just fucking slow down just a little bit? I mean, it's just so much to do in so little time. And
there'll be nothing.
Right. I mean, I'm glad, because I'd rather, as much as I love Christmas, I don't mind getting it over with, because I fucking hate winter anyways. So
yeah.
I just don't even want to deal with the winter. But yeah, I don't mind at this point if it were just to go by quick, just to get through this. But that's a whole other story. But we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit of news and then reviewing actually a movie I started talking about with Mark last week when we were reviewing the Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Christmas Evil. Because I briefly talked about...
And I was jealous.
Yeah.
So we're fixing it now.
Yes. So I briefly talked about Deadly Games, which just got released for the first time on streaming, and we're going to actually review that tonight. So get ready for that. That'll be coming on later on in the episode here. Besides that, though, has there been anything else that you've been kind of watching over the last week or two?
Well, not a whole lot of horror stuff, man. More Christmas stuff.
Right.
A whole lot of Home Improvement and King of the Hill.
Okay.
But I've been saving the movies and all that stuff for this coming week. So
yeah,
I want to watch Jack Frost, which I'm probably going to watch with Joe Bob now since he watched it.
Yes, definitely.
I haven't watched any of the Silent Night, Deadly Night yet, so I'm going to get on those here pretty soon. Been saving the best ones for last.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, this week I've kind of watched a lot of stuff. Between, like, Friday of last week up through the Joe Bob Marathon. So, I obviously watched Deadly Games. That was just kind of just on accident. Me and my wife saw it and decided to watch it. Obviously, Silent Night, Deadly Night, I watched. Christmas Evil, I watched. And then this week, actually, because I got my Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday Blu-rays in.
Yeah, mine's coming this week.
So. Nice.
I did see Christmas Evil this past week. I forgot I watched that.
Okay, cool. But I watched one of those, so I actually watched Blood Harvest. And that was actually the first time I saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's such a weird movie, but it's so good. It is so good. I mean, Tiny Tim is just so fucking weird.
I read the synopsis on it, and I want to see it. I've never seen that one either. It's
good. I highly suggest picking that up when you get a chance, because I'm very happy with that movie. It's so good, but it's so cheesy too. It's just so perfect, and it's just right up our alley. You know, with the different tastes that we have in this group.
Yeah.
So. It's so good. It would be a good one to review, you know, coming up here in the future after Christmas and the holidays and all that.
For sure.
But yeah, so that's a good one. And then obviously Friday night was the Joe Bob Marathon, so I ended up watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I watched most of Jack Frost, and then they ended it off with. Oh, I'm sorry. They started with Black Christmas, then did Jack Frost, and then ended it with Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I was confusing myself there a little bit, but so it was fun. I mean, they did the whole Christmas theme and everything. They had like the small TV inside of a fireplace playing like the the fireplace burning and everything.
That's
which
cool.
Was a nice little.
Yeah,
touch.
I didn't get a chance to tune in. I did watch a couple of the Friday movies.
Yeah,
so.
That's good. It's always good to fit those in, especially.
That's
on
like a
Friday
family thing with my family.
Right.
Odd as that might sound, with the wife and the kids, we all sit and watch it.
Yeah.
My oldest girl wasn't, but my 3-year-old was very into it this time. So at the moment, she's a fan. Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun actually with the marathon. I was having a little bit of trouble streaming at first, but I think a lot of it has to do with my Amazon Fire TV was acting weird, I think. But like I was able to stream it on my phone and then like stream the phone to the TV. So that's ended up how I ended up watching the rest of it. It was streaming from my phone to my TV so I could actually watch it on a big screen versus my fucking small iPhone screen. But it was a lot of fun. Is the Fire
stuff built into your TV? Not to interrupt.
No, I bought the 4K Fire TV thing. Because my TV is a Samsung 4K TV, so it's just got the proprietary Samsung apps in it. So
now that's better, actually. That's what I was going to say.
Right. No, definitely, I agree. But yeah, overall, the Joe Bob Marathon was great. Actually, it was kind of cool because between Darcy and Joe Bob were like telling Christmas stories or quote unquote Christmas stories, because Joe Bob made it a point to say that Christmas is about telling sad stories. So they were telling sad stories. Like Joe Bob was talking about how in between, after Monster Vision ended and stuff, in him trying to find work and not having money for even bus fare to go to like job interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in like people wanting to pay for his, like there's a horror movie fan is who he was guessing was offering to pay for his bus fare because he tried to sneak on the bus to ride the bus so he could get to his interview, and the bus driver caught him and was kicking him off, and this dude was offering to pay for his fare so he could get to where he was going and stuff, and Joe Bob just not wanting to take the charity of somebody else was declining and trying to leave, and the guy kept saying, I'll pay for your fare, I'll pay for your fare. And so that was like the story that he told. But then Darcy, like I have a whole new respect for Darcy because she actually talked about some serious fucked up shit that happened to her. Because she ended up telling the story about how her ex-husband like kept her and her son locked up in a motel room for like a long extended period of time, a long time. Just how abusive he was and stuff. And when she finally got out of that situation and left him, and she talked about how that's how she got started into dancing because she couldn't afford to, feed them. Yeah. And granted, she's stripped and she's done porn and all that, but honestly, she's taking care of her kid. You can
turn it into a negative into a positive.
Yeah, she was taking care of her family.
Yeah,
exactly. So that gave me a whole new respect for Darcy. I mean, she's great. I mean, she deserves everything she's got with being on the show and everything. She's very knowledgeable. I mean, on top of all that. And so I kudos to her because I mean I have a whole new respect for her after hearing that and how she was just trying to take care of her son. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she ended up following our Twitter on Friday night. So she's following us now, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
But
cool.
I don't think she's ever listened to the show or anything, but I thought that was kind of cool that she started following us. Yeah. It's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
But yeah, so Friday night was great watching those. Exactly. So it was very, very cool on Friday night. It was a lot of fun. The marathon was a lot of fun, like always. And they ended it off with recreating the Linnea Quigley scene from the first Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I might just skip and watch that before I watch any of it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Do it. Oh my God! And that's how they got Joe Bob to dress up in the Santa outfit again. He said he would do it because of that, just getting to kill Darcy. So, well worth it by far. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been able to watch over the last week. Kind of working my way up to Christmas. I still got to watch Home Alone. I've still got to watch Die Hard.
Yeah, I haven't watched Die Hard yet. I watched Home Alone around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I probably won't watch it all. But Jingle All the Way is another one. Yeah, I always try. Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, Jingle. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that one. It's been a long time since.
That one gets forgotten, man, but it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, that's another classic. I love that movie.
Yeah, was it Sinbad and Phil Hartman trying to go after Arnold's wife? The whole movie. Good stuff.
Oh, it is so good. It's so classic. Phil Hartman's such a greaseball in that movie.
Yes.
Just trying to steal his wife.
When he has about a handful of other widows or divorcees standing right there.
Right? Exactly. Oh, what a creep. He played that role so well. It was so good.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. One of the greats from Saturday Night Live and all that. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so lots of good stuff. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to the Christmas season being over, but there's still a lot of movies I need to watch
while it's here. So.
Exactly. I'm already sick of hearing Christmas music though. Like at my work,
I haven't listened to any yet, and I've been able to avoid it, thankfully. So I'll be able to enjoy it closer to Christmas, because everyone does overdo it. I agree. Some people are listening before Thanksgiving even. Come on, man.
I can't stand that. People that start listening right around Halloween too, that's just ridiculous.
Come on. Yeah.
It's
There's a couple
stupid.
other holidays here, man. Slow down.
Right. That's almost as bad as them starting to advertise Christmas trees before Halloween even happens. I mean,
yeah. Well, Thanksgiving.
I remember I posted that on Facebook.
If you didn't actually make the effort for Thanksgiving, like your personal self, you'd forget it even existed. So.
Right. Exactly. That's ridiculous. But oh well. So let's take a look at some news that's for some upcoming things that are coming up shortly. Some of it shortly, some of it not. Some we don't have dates on some things right now. But to kind of start things off here, one of my favorite things with literature is H.P. Lovecraft. I love H.P. Lovecraft. I love the whole Cthulhu mythos and all that. So Warner Brothers is actually starting to develop a film based on these mythos. So it's based on the H.P. Lovecraft stories and whatnot and characters and all that. They've actually hired the creators of Game of Thrones to actually produce this and write it.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man. So I don't know a lot of Game of Thrones. I've never watched it, but I've seen the dragons in certain clips, and I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes. Like seeing that setting for H.P. Lovecraft stuff, that sounds awesome. So
I agree. I think they got the right people on board to be able to produce something that's going to be great, especially if you're going epic. Just looking at Game of Thrones and how epic they got things to go with that. I think that's great. I do like that they're not trying to modernize this, so they're not going to try to set it in 2019 or anything like that. It's done so much
with this stuff, man, and it's like, this is old stuff. We gotta go back a little.
Yep. So this will be taking place within the year 1920, so right around the time that he wrote this. All this stuff is when it's going to actually take place. And basically it's detailing is that the movie asks the question is, if H.P. Lovecraft wasn't making all this stuff up, what if the monsters were real?
Well, that's funny because, that's kind of a conspiracy theory, one I've always thought was cool. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because of his dad's connections with the Freemasons and other things. So
yep.
It's pretty cool stuff, man.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited because I mean, you look at some of the other stuff that he wrote that inspired other things. I mean, you got stuff like Reanimator, From Beyond.
Yeah. His fingerprints are all over the place, even if not as direct as those. You know what I mean? Not War of the Worlds. That's something else. That's H.G. Wells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, his literature's inspired so many things. Stuff, it's about time you get something that's dedicated specifically to, especially the Cthulhu mythos and stuff.
Yeah, man. I think there's so much stuff too that could really make so much.
Definitely. It could be a whole fucking franchise.
Big and popular, yeah, exactly. Expose the world. It's something that's kind of forgotten, and like, you know, I mean, our age group and older definitely knows about, but once you start getting past our generation, I don't think they have a lot of knowledge of him or his works or anything. So
no, not really. It's kind of sad because his stuff is so good. I mean, yes, granted, because most of it's like 100 years old or older, some of it can be harder to read and understand.
Yeah. Because
you're talking about a whole different time period, and
it's worth it trying.
It is, because he's so detailed and so meticulous with how he wrote things, and it's just so good. There's just something so great about it, and it's really stood the test of time. I mean, you look at it and people are still talking about Lovecraft now, and obviously now they're making a new movie.
A few things coming around.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you've got video games based off his stuff. You've got board games based off of his stuff.
Nick Cage movie's coming out now too.
Yes, The Color of Space.
Yeah.
Color of Space, yeah.
A lot of HP
That's going to be good too.
A lot of HP love out there.
Yeah. So that's something to definitely look forward to. Once we have more information, especially kind of a ballpark range of when it's supposed to be released, we'll obviously let you know, but this is really literally the only information we have so far, is that it is happening through Warner Brothers with the Game of Thrones people. So it's exciting. It's at least a start of something. So I'm super pumped for this. That's for sure. And then kind of going on from there, we've been talking a lot about Tammy and the T-Rex lately, especially because Vinegar Syndrome just released that on Blu-ray, and they have, the 4K version, and obviously they have the gore cut as well. Well, that gore cut, if you've been wanting to check that out, will be coming to streaming. It'll have its streaming premiere on Shudder on January 13th of 2020. So that is coming up.
That's great, man. That's like having a new release, basically. I mean, it basically is a new release on there.
Yeah.
It's making Shudder just keeps getting better and better. So
I agree, because when they started out, I was very leery of them, because I'm just like, is this like
There's
a
been a lot
scam
of
or something?
Yeah, like I can't remember the one I had before Shudder. I paid for like a year of it. It stunk. But anyways,
well, there's that
been so
Fear Net or whatever.
Yeah, there's been so many, like, they'll have something here or there, but for the most part, they've been pretty terrible. But Shudder's been improving constantly. Honestly, I think the Joe Bob thing had a lot to do with that. That was like...
Oh, I believe so.
Groundbreaking for them, and it's just they're spending their money right now. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because that really kind of opened the floodgates to them, because then they got all these subscribers, but then they started releasing stuff. I mean, even when Joe Bob was first starting to do that, when he first did that 24-hour marathon, they were starting to get some good content on there. Yeah. And then it just kind of grew from there, obviously, because now you've got the Shudder Creep Show.
Yeah.
You've got all these other things coming up.
They haven't increased the price either since doing all
this.
And that's awesome. So.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point they will have to, but
I was going to say, I'd be willing to pay a few more bucks, because $5 is great anyway. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. As long as they're not gouging people like fucking Netflix, who's charging almost $20 a month now.
It's getting rough.
It is, because I mean, just 3 years ago,
I was about to switch from the 4 screens to 2 screens, and then everybody started watching shit on Netflix, and I was like, "Why didn't you guys do this?"
Yeah,
I was trying to save some money. It was only like $3 or $4 anyways. Oh well.
I'm kind of in that same boat.
I felt like nobody was watching it, and then everybody started watching it. So that's streaming for you.
Right. No, definitely. It's rough. Because it's kind of where everything's going now anyways. I mean, we've talked about it a lot because, I mean, cable TV is on its way out no matter how much you want to try to hold on to that. It's a dying breed, just like, video rental stores. I mean, it's kind of going that way. Everything's going to streaming because
I think your best bet if you don't want to end up being, because the way it's going to end up being the same price if you get all these things. But you could like bounce yourself around and like pick a couple for 3 months, switch to a couple other ones for 3 months. Because everyone's been watching shit anyway, so you don't have to bog yourself down with all the choices all at once.
Exactly.
They're just all coming at it with so much stuff right now, but most of that's exclusive content, so that stuff's not going to leave those channels.
Yep, that's precisely right. And that's actually a smart way to do it too, because then you can just every few months just switch it up and go to different services and binge watch.
They're not getting the advantage on me, damn it.
Nope.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, otherwise, you do have the option, like, I'm just collecting everything nowadays. I mean, I'm up to about 1,200 DVDs and Blu-rays, so...
I have a huge collection, and that's why, like, there comes times where I'm like, just screw it, which I haven't done in a while, but, I really don't have to have anything. It's just keeping up with the newer stuff is the only reason I really keep a lot of it, so...
Right. Exactly.
And if you're patient, you can buy all that on Blu-ray and all that eventually. I don't care what it came out on. Even Karate Kid shows, I think the first season of that's on Blu-ray now. So.
Yep, even Stranger Things. Cause, I mean, you can get the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things. I'm sure the 3rd season is going to be coming out this year. So.
And they come out with cool little boxes that look like VHS cassettes.
Oh, fuck yeah. I love that. I love their first 2 releases looking like those clamshell cases. It's great. And yeah, it's there's ways to do it so you don't have to get every fucking streaming service is basically what we're trying to say, because I don't have every single one, but I also don't watch a lot of TV. I mean, I play more video games than I watch TV, so, or I watch movies. But TV is very, like, unless I'm watching something with my wife, or if it's something I absolutely need to watch that she won't watch with me, I don't really watch much of anything.
Yeah, I used to, man. Like, when we had less going on in our lives, we had, like, quite a few TV shows we kept up with, but it's hard to really do that anymore. So sometimes we'll watch something older that we like together just so we have something to watch.
Right.
Yeah, TV's hard to watch. Mandalorian's about the only thing I can stay current with at the moment, and I'm an episode behind on that. So.
My wife got me watching a drag show recently. Like, I fucking hate those drag show things. Like, like the one, what's the name, RuPaul or whatever. Yeah. Like, she tried to get me to watch that, and I couldn't do it. But this one is actually horror related, and it's actually on Netflix.
Yeah.
So
I got so many of them.
It's interesting.
Somewhat entertaining.
This one is entertaining. Like, I still don't care for the whole dragger thing and whatnot, but this one's entertaining because it's horror related. They do horror type makeup competition things in it, and then whoever gets eliminated, they actually film a scene of them being killed, basically.
Oh, that's
so they kill them off. So it's interesting. It's a good twist on it, and it's actually kind of enjoyable. Don't tell my wife, because I'm sure she's probably not going to listen to the episode. But if she does, I love you.
If there's a drag queen that you really hate, you can see her get killed eventually.
Right. Exactly. So that's been interesting, and we kind of binge watched that. But yeah, interesting stuff. I never thought I would say I've watched a drag show, so but now I have.
There you go, man. You're progressive now.
Progressive. Still not my cup of tea, but it's kind of fun. But kind of moving on from that, we do for the first time probably in the history of our show. Because I know we talked about how we are into video games, horror, and wrestling, and we've talked quite a bit about wrestling and horror movies, but very little about video games. So there's two little pieces about video games that we kind of wanted to talk about a little bit here. First off is the game Infliction, which has been pretty much just on PC up until recently, is now getting a release on consoles. So it's going to be on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. It's actually going to be released on February 25th at the price point of $19.99.
Oh, that's
so this is better. Yeah, so it's kind of a cheap game, but it's one of those psychological horror games. So if you think like Outcast, even like Slender the Arrival, stuff like that, it kind of seems like it's got a lot of that kind of feel to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Or even
I've never heard of this particular one, but
yeah,
based on that,
I actually hadn't either, but I saw the trailer for it and I thought it looked pretty good because, like, I love those games, but at the same time, I fucking hate playing them because I swear to God, they're going to end up giving me a heart attack one of these times.
They're doing quite a bit of it now, too, man. It's
a
great genre in the video game industry.
Oh, definitely.
Right, I never thought there'd be so much horror content. Like, there's so much I don't even know what's out there half the time. So.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And it's because it's like these kind of games are really popular, especially if you look at like Twitch and stuff like that, people streaming these games, because people just want to see these fucking people jump and get scared when shit jumps out at you.
My
Which
daughter
is
introduced me to Five Nights at Freddy, which is the same kind of thing. Like, it's one of them jump scare
I love
games.
Five Nights at Freddy. See, that one's a little bit more tamer, so I can handle that one a little bit better. Cause
they just put all those on console, all the PC games from that, like $8 a piece, something like that. So,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like I love horror movies. Like, give me your scariest horror movies. I love them. But it comes to fucking video games and me having to play it and be the character in it. Oh, fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's
I
my
fucking
wife.
freak
Man.
out
She could
too
never
easily.
play Resident Evil. She'd always it just ends up handing me the controller. So she can't handle it. It's too immersive. Like
it is. Because it gives me so much bad anxiety playing those games. On top of the fact of me feeling like I'm gonna fucking have a heart attack, then my heart just won't stop racing, and the adrenaline's going, and it just wears me the fuck out. It's not a good mix for me.
I'll tell you, as much as I kind of felt like a lot of pressure like that was Resident Evil 3, which I just heard was coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I think
I didn't
Ted
see the trailer,
mentioned something about that.
Yeah, but they got it for pre-order now, so I think that'll be all of them, man. Now, like all the past releases finally redone. So
yeah, because even they redid 4 like twice.
Yeah, they've got the other one. I can't remember the 0 ones and all that. So
yeah.
Which I haven't played every single one of those, but I was glad to see that the first 3 are on there. Like those are my favorite out of all of them. So and I like Code Veronica.
Definitely.
But that's a hard ass game. So.
I don't think I ever played Code Veronica. I think I kind of stopped after the main ones.
Yeah, I did, but that for what someone got me that for Christmas one year, so that's the reason I ended up playing it. But it was like the hardest Resident Evil game I've ever played. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's just these games are a little tough. But on the other flip side of this, the other piece of news that we have is that the group that helped kind of develop and produce the Friday the 13th game, so Ilphonic, their newest game, which is kind of the same basic concept, where it's multiplayer, you versus an enemy, they're coming out with Predator Hunting Grounds, which is coming out April 24th. And I've got mixed feelings about it just because of the track record.
But it's only because of whose name is on it as being a
Gun
part
Media.
Of it. Yeah. Like, the trailer got me excited, and then I was like, why? They're going to make, like, it frustrated me, man. I'm probably going to end up...
Yeah.
I might not buy it on release date, but I doubt I'm going to wait long enough for it to be free, so... It looks fun.
Right.
And honestly, based on my Friday the 13th experience, I think I had the most fun when it first came out. So I'm thinking maybe I do need to jump on it right away before they fuck it up.
Well, and a lot of that's Gun Media and their kind of inexperience with it too. Because Ilphonic was a part of it, but I think a lot of
yeah,
it wasn't all of it. So they may actually do very well with this game, and it may be a great game, but it just remains to be seen because I'm hesitant. Because I loved Friday the 13th as a game, like even though it has its issues, still has its issues, it's still a fun game. But it's just the fact that they're no longer producing content because of the fucking lawsuit bullshit. And basically, Gun Media giving up.
That'll be a plus for Predator. I don't think there's any issue rights or anything that they have to worry about with that. So.
I don't believe so. So I do like the concept of that type of game, and I think it works well with the Predator universe. And then having the different classes of Predators too that they're going to have, and you're going to have the option of male and female Predators. So I like classes, that a lot.
Different weapons. Hunt or be hunted, which fits the whole, theme of it anyway. So,
yep,
I liked it. The trailer made me a little bit excited. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, I'm gonna be the asshole who ends up buying this out of the group.
I may end up getting it, but I'm just hesitant.
Yeah,
I'll probably wait until after it comes out. Just to kind of see how it does at first.
Because I know what's going to happen. It's going to be great, and everyone's going to whine because the Predators are too powerful, and then they're going to start fucking the game. So.
Yeah, as long as they don't do that, because they don't.
Because it's a Predator. I mean, you're supposed to kick your ass.
It's not supposed to be easy. It's not a part. This is not a fucking participation award. You're gonna fucking die a lot. And it should be rewarding when you actually kill one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. They're smart, though. Apply the team aspect better than they did in Friday. Right. Friday had it somewhat, but it was somewhat broken apart to where you could work as a team, but then someone could break from the team and totally fuck the team. So.
Yep.
But Predator's different. Don't stray away from the escape and let's just do survival.
Yeah, I agree.
Survive the night till the freaking chopper arrives, or freaking kill the Predator.
I agree. Have that chopper come at the end of the 20-minute mark or whatever, and then you got to get to the chopper. Like literally get to the chopper to escape and survive. Yeah, that would be great. Versus people escaping within the first minute. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, because they got lucky on the spawn.
Yep. So, yeah, it could be good. I'm gonna hold off judgment on it. I'm not gonna bash it until it comes out and I see for myself. Because I know I've done that with some movies lately. That's just, I shouldn't be Black so harsh Christmas sometimes, Bond. But yeah, I'm not surprised it did. I'm really not.
Me either. You turned the fan base that would have went to see it off to begin with, so that didn't leave much to go see it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna, talk about the whole feminist thing because I mean that it is what it is. I think it didn't.
Money,
rules,
all of it. So.
Yeah. Because I mean, I have nothing against feminists. I mean, you can believe what you want. It's just the fact that it's
true feminism is fine. It's this new branch of it that's a little radical and ridiculous. I don't think most real feminists are people who represent, who are a woman and want to feel strong about women, think any good about that bullshit either. So,
and I honestly don't think it would have been a bad take if they were going a more feminist route with this movie. I think it's just the fact that number one, they fucking ruined the whole movie by basically showing the twist that it's a fucking cult in the first trailer.
I thought that was cool.
And
you ruined the twist.
On top of and then on top of that,
a good twist anyways.
Right. But then on top of that, you make it PG-13 instead of rated R. Which is going to limit what you can do just so you can try to get a bigger audience, which obviously that's not working because I did look at the numbers. I did see the numbers today of how much they've made this weekend, and it's not a lot of money.
No. Yeah, I
not
saw
at
it
all.
Too, and I was like, wow, it did terrible.
Like, I was not expecting.
It's funny, you got them doing that
bad.
now, but back when we were kids, there was Ghostbusters and Gremlins, which came out PG, and it kind of frustrated people because it pushed the limit. And that's when they started making. That's when they came out and made the PG-13 rating. Now
Yeah.
you got companies trying to back away, and I think they got the wrong. Everything's backwards.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll leave that at that, because I mean it's not doing good, and I'm guessing the movie's just not that great, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe people like it. I don't know. I'm just not going to see it until it's for free somewhere, you know, on Netflix or wherever it may be. And then I'll check it out. But I'm not going to spend money to go see something that they've, number one, ruined in the first trailer, and number two, decided it would be better to be PG-13 when it should be something that's a hard R, based on even the subject matter of it. It should be rated R.
Guarantee the Blu-ray will be R-rated.
Right? Unrated cut.
Yeah.
But we kind of got off there because we were talking about Predator Hunting Grounds. Got back on Black Christmas for some reason. I don't know. It seems like every fucking week we get back into Black Christmas for some reason.
It's haunting us. It's real.
It is. It really is. So let's move on from there. Let's take a look at some trailers for some upcoming things. So actually,
better than all this crap.
Exactly. So to start things off, coming out January 4th, it's a combined Netflix and BBC project. It is Dracula. It's a Netflix and BBC miniseries, and I'm fucking excited for this.
Yeah, I thought it looked great, man. I was mad it was just a teaser. Like, I wanted to see more.
Right.
But maybe it was good not to. Like, it looked great, man. The gothic feel.
Yep.
He had a Bela Lugosi kind of look. Sorry to keep cutting you.
Right. No, that's all right. I was going to comment on the look because I liked the fact that they went more traditional with the look, kind of harkening back to the Universal Monsters era instead of like the more recent, like long flowing fucking hair action movie type Draculas. I mean, I like that they're going
Jason
more
Momoa
traditional
as Dracula. Or how
right.
you say his name.
I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
Good enough.
Yeah, good enough. So I like this. I think that they gave you enough in there to kind of get a taste of what it's going to be like. And BBC's been doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, they're like my new
plus,
favorite network, man. Like, I haven't even seen the stuff, but their trailers I want to see all of it, man. War of the Worlds and Dracula. I can't remember.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, Christmas Carol. Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Do some Frankenstein. Keep it going.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So the thing that they did right with this is they have the people that created the Sherlock Holmes series, Sherlock, that starred Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. So they got them behind this, doing this. So that's got me excited too, because that series is actually really good.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that, and it's decent. And I think that's the right kind of format for Dracula too. So something like that, similar to that, anyways. Always try to kind of compare the styles of the shows these guys make. And
definitely,
it fits for sure, man.
Yeah. And I know that we were talking about this before we were recording, but I like that they're not dragging it out too, that they are doing a miniseries. I think it's something like 3 episodes, and that's it.
Yeah, because it gives us a little bit more than the movie would, but not so much that it could ruin it. Just short but sweet and fun. It'll be good, man. I'm looking forward to it. And if Dracula needs something, man, like, it's done a lot, but it's never done really right or all that great. So,
at least not any time in the last 50 years. You know, it's been a long time since there's been a good. I mean, granted, you have like Blade and you have Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Dario Argento did a Dracula. I believe it was Argento. Like, in the last 10 years, that was pretty. Good.
It was Dracula.
It wasn't great,
3D.
but it was all right. It's better than some of the stuff I've seen anyway.
Yeah, because you had Rutger Hauer as Van Helsing, I think, in that one.
Yeah.
I think that's the one. But yeah, I mean, it's. I think they're on the right track. I mean, looking at everything that they're doing with Universal's properties now, I'm very excited because it seems like they're finally going in the right direction after so many years of going in the wrong direction. And it's got me excited because, I mean, we get this in January, and then Invisible Man comes in February. We won't talk about Invisible Woman because we've already ranted on that enough. But
looks like some good dark, return to the good dark Universal days. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully that'll inspire some more.
Yeah. And just to clarify for those of you that might be listening that didn't hear our previous rant, I'm not bashing on Invisible Woman. It's just the fact of who's making it and the comments that she made.
In the wrong direction, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's I want to see it done, but I want to see it done right and not just trying to put an agenda out there to do something. Basically, is all I'm saying. Have a woman do it, but keep your politics aside and just make a great movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no more politics in the movies.
Because we get enough politics everywhere. We don't need politics in something that's supposed to be entertaining.
The great Donald Trump. Just kidding.
Oh, God. I can't even stand him anymore. Jesus. I'm kind of just done with politics all over.
Yeah, it's all a circus and joke. Man. I think it's supposed to be, honestly. That's all I got to say about that.
Yep. We'll just leave it at that. So that's coming out on January 4th. On Netflix, so I've got that marked down because I'm fucking watching that shit. Okay. I'm binging that as soon as it comes out. But following that, also coming out in February, because February seems to be a decent month for all these movies that are coming out. So we've got a movie called Clown Fear, and this looks really interesting and it looks really fun.
Yeah, the trailer looked fun to me, man. I was impressed. I was like, oh god, another freaking clown movie. It just made all this clown shit all over the place, but this one actually has a lot of promise to it, and it looks like it's got some excellent kills. So.
Yeah, that got me excited. The trailer, I like that they have the Don LaFontaine voice in it, which made it that much better. Okay. And then, I mean, overall, the trailer was funny.
Once you see their face, it's already too late. It's great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so classic B movie-esque. It's so good. So that's something to look forward to coming out in February. And then finally, and this is kind of the biggest one that we touched on last week about all the news about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Obviously, the trailer dropped this past Monday. And holy shit, is this great, fucking thing look great.
I literally got goosebumps in it. My daughter looked at me and was like, why are you smiling like that? I feel like a big old nerd, but I don't care, man. That shit was awesome. So
it's like, you don't understand.
That's what I said. I was like, now, I was like, you saw that was all. I was like, now you know why I wasn't excited about the last one. I was like, this just makes sense. So.
Yeah. But this got me really super excited for it because obviously we talked a little bit, about how they were talking about the family moves into their grandfather's house and that's how they find out about the Ghostbusters and all that. So we kind of got confirmation, I think, for the most part, that their grandfather is Egon, who obviously Harold Ramis did pass away.
I'm glad they're doing it in that way because it, so we don't expect his character because we know it's not going to be there, and it also, kind of honors him as well. So. It's a perfect way to do it. I like that.
Because, I mean, honestly, they've got McKenna Grace basically looking like a little girl Egon.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Which I thought was great. I mean, you obviously see all of his spore collection.
I think she has more, like, she's the main catalyst of everything. That's what I took from it. Even
right.
So, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because it seems like she's kind of more the nerdy scientist type, and then Finn Wolfhard seems like more of the mechanic type.
Typical guy, kid.
Yep, because he's taking out Ecto-1 for a spin and stuff, and
which was
that whole thing was great. Hearing that siren go, I almost cried a little bit. I'll be honest, I'm a man. I almost cried at a fucking trailer.
It's all right. It's because we're toxic fanboys. We can't help it.
Right.
It was great, man.
But there's so much good.
I can't wait to see another trailer. Just, I don't know when it's coming out, but I can't wait to go see it, man. And it looks like it might be returning to its roots. I don't know if, that was the hint when they said, this is something about not a ghost sighting, and they showed the little clip, and then they're, in a... looked like a boiler room, and I swear it looked like a dog. Like a couple times you see a flash of that demon dog or a part of it.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if
I'm hoping that would be great if those dogs come back from the first movie.
What was the?
Oh my god!
What was the original demon's name? Zool or whatever.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
Yeah. That'll be great, man.
Then Gozer.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, so good. It's so good.
The only thing I was disappointed in, I loved the whole thing, and I didn't even notice this until I watched it a couple of times, but I didn't get the, there was no, who you gonna call, or a little bit of that beat from that song. I hope they insert that somewhere in the movie, because that is a part of all
they
of
have
it too,
to.
man. So
I hope to God.
Maybe they're saving that, so I haven't given up. I was just like, I just happened to wait a second. I didn't get my song, so.
Right.
But I'm not mad. It still was awesome. So.
Yeah. No, definitely. But yeah, that's coming out tentatively right now. It's July 10th. Obviously, dates can change, but they've got it slated for July 10th for a release. So right after the 4th of July holiday. So that's going to be coming up quick. I mean, that's going to be here before we know it. I mean, that's like 7 months away now.
Away at all. Yeah.
I mean,
that's awesome.
It's going to be here so quick. I mean, even like Invisible Man's going to be here in like a month and a half. And then the new Saw movie will be here in May, so that's like 5 months off. Or it was either March or May, one of the two. So that's just a few months off too. We haven't even gotten a trailer for that yet. And we know that that's completed, so that's got to be coming quickly. You know, if they're going to get something out there before. That's going to be interesting.
That's like a whole new take on everything.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I'm more excited for Samuel L. Jackson.
That just sounds wild and odd, but I'm not like Chris Rock impresses me all the time, man. So I'm not like it just doesn't sound right. Like Chris Rock in this, but he's talented enough. I'm gonna give it a chance. So.
I believe so too. Yeah, 100%. Now, before we get into our review tonight, I know you had a little bit of information regarding some upcoming Blu-rays. What did you?
Yeah, man. The Transylvania 65000 with Jeff Goldblum. I forget who else is in it. That's coming out in February 11th. It's a great comedy horror. It's two tabloid guys who are down and out and basically a joke and laughed at. They get some footage, I want to say, from Transylvania of a Frankenstein chasing somebody, and it looks legit to them, so they go through hell basically trying to get to Transylvania and find Frankenstein, and along the way come across other monsters like the werewolf and Dracula. But they all have their own little comedic different twist. It's not your typical shit, but I recommend it. It's a fun, good Halloween watch. Yeah. And also, Very Bad Things is Shout Factory is coming out January 28th. That one, if you look at the cover and look at the cast, like, it's probably going to make most people think, why is he even mentioning this movie? But it's got Christian Slater and Daniel Stern and Cameron Diaz. A brief synopsis is it's a bachelor party and the hooker gets killed, and Christian Slater decides that they should chop her up and bury her there in the desert so that they don't have to worry about it anymore. And that one mistake leads to brothers killing brothers and so much more, man. It's just the most insane, ridiculous, dark comedy I happened to watch by accident but fell in love with.
Okay.
And it's not on Blu-ray, but Bliss I saw was coming on Shudder in January as well, so... And I know we talked about that a few months ago. So
yeah, we did talk about that briefly.
So that's the vampire flick that looked kind of just wild. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that was next month for Shudder. So
I think it was. Obviously, we can always double check that and update you if it is any different. But I think it was next month.
That's something I caught and was like, oh, we got to mention that.
Right.
Got to remember these movies we recommend to you guys.
Yeah, it's hard to keep some of it straight sometimes. We talk about so much. But, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, because I didn't know about the Transylvania 65000 And then, the other Christian Slater one, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a movie, Very Bad Things, I avoided. Like, it looked like it was going to be a lame attempt at comedy, honestly, but it sucks you in pretty fast, man. It's just one fucked up thing after another. Like, it just progressively gets worse, but you can't help but laugh at the shit that's going on. Like I said, a brother ends up killing a brother, and there's a scene where Cameron Diaz is covered in blood and blaming the other guy, and he's about to kill the guy, and this is at a wedding, so like
Yep.
It's insane.
That's awesome. That's so good. Good stuff to kind of look forward to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, we'll keep you guys up to date on any other Blu-ray releases or any like deals that are coming out, like how Vinegar Syndrome did their Black Friday sale. We'll keep you up to date on all that as more information comes for different things. So why don't we get into tonight's review? Like I was saying, I briefly talked about this last week, but after getting to watch it and Sean getting to watch it, we decided we'll go ahead and review it this week as just another Christmas horror movie to kind of discuss and review. So we're going to take a look at 1989's Deadly Games.
He's 9 years old. His name is Thomas. He's a little genius. He believes in Father Christmas. His two favorite pastimes: computers and superheroes. December 24th, midnight. Hidden under the dining room table, Thomas waits for Father Christmas. But what he does not know is that he is about to experience the most frightening night in his entire life. Finally met his match. Wanted, Mr. Xmas.
So Deadly Games. Deadly Games was released on March 18th, 1989. So this is clearly released well before Home Alone. And the biggest thing with this movie is this was Home Alone before Home Alone was Home Alone. And the plot of this movie is Thomas, a very intelligent and resourceful child, is left alone with his beloved and fragile granddad on Christmas Eve when a psychopath dressed as Santa breaks into their mansion and starts chasing them. Thomas will do whatever he can to save himself and his granddad. The cast and crew for this movie, and now this is a French-made movie, so a lot of these people you're probably not going to know, but the director is René Manzor. It stars Bridget Fossey, Louis Decroux, Patrick Florsheim, and Elaine Lalaine as the main cast members in this movie. This movie is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. It's a new Christmas favorite of mine, man. Like, I'm gonna try to hunt this down on something so I can watch it every year. I haven't done that yet, but it's definitely on my to-do list. I gotta find this flick.
Yeah, so it is definitely a must-have for me because I've got to find it, hopefully. Hopefully they get a release on Blu-ray for
I'm going to say, with all the buzz that it's gotten
locked
recently, man, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not already in the works. Somebody's going to.
Yeah. Now, you were talking a little bit about the different names, because this obviously did go by different names. Originally, it was known as Dial Code Santa Claus. Obviously, that's the translation from French.
Yeah.
And it also had the name of Game Over as well, which that's how it's found on IMDb.
Yeah.
Is under the name Game Over.
I came across another one too called Hide and Freak.
Okay. I didn't hear about that one.
So, which I'm glad they didn't use. That just sounds weird.
Yeah, it does. Now, before we started recording tonight, I was kind of telling Sean that after seeing this movie, I think I like this more than Home Alone. I mean, I still love Home Alone, but there's just something about this movie because they did it first, and just because it's horror related and deals with the psychotic Santa Claus,
exactly,
which I love.
Home Alone
is
great and a classic, but this just has it has a more original feel to it than Home Alone does, and I don't know what it is, man. And the horror aspect, it sucked me right in, man. And I actually, when Home Alone came out, the director, who's also the writer, he threatened a legal action for plagiarism because he said they remade my movie. So he was convinced they stole his idea. Great. So I think that's awesome. We're not the only ones that see the similarities.
Yeah. It's so good. I mean, it's such a great movie.
And this kid's smarter than Kevin McAllister, man. This kid is so bright.
Oh, no
He's
kidding.
Intelligent as
this kid's he fucking loves Rambo, number one. Yeah. You get that right in the beginning. Yeah. This kid fucking loves Rambo. I mean, he's got his little traps everywhere, and he's trapping
poor
his
little
dog.
Man. That dog goes through some hell. He was taking it though. He was just laying in the net like. It's every day.
Yeah.
That was great.
He's just like, okay, here we go again. But a mini disclaimer regarding this movie before we start really getting into it is because it is a foreign film. Just be aware if you want to see this, it's subtitled right now. So if you don't like subtitles, this may not... I still encourage you to check it out because it's a great movie, but... it's probably going to be harder for some people that can't handle with the subtitles and stuff.
And once the movie gets into it, there's not a lot of extra dialogue, so you definitely don't have to overly worry about it. The content alone sucks you in and is pretty good. So.
Yep. Yeah, but that's just a little side note regarding this, just in case, because I'd hate for you to go watch it and hate it because of subtitles and whatnot. Just be aware that it is subtitled, but I mean it's easily accessible, especially if you have Shudder, especially if you're a fan of Joe Bob Briggs like us, and are got Shudder because of The Last Drive-In and everything. It's on there, so you can watch it on there. Currently.
I think YouTube has it under Dial Code Santa as well. So
okay,
the subtitles. So.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the Alamo draft houses right now for the Christmas season are actually showing it too. So
yeah, that's cool. I did Black Christmas today. I wasn't able to make it. But...
mine's showing Black Christmas, I think, this Tuesday for their Tuesday Night Terror thing, cool. Which is great. I don't think I'll be able to go, but because we're going to see Star Wars next weekend. But
yeah, that's coming. Yeah. I saw that was coming out right before Christmas. I was like, holy crap, man!
Yeah, Friday, it's coming quick.
I'm not excited, but that's unfortunately.
I am.
I'm not. I don't know, man. We'll see how it all goes.
Yeah. We'll see.
I heard a few leaks from Sweden where it was already released. So but I'm not going to say any of them, so I'll leave it to everybody to see the movie. So.
Good. I'd hate for it to have that spoiled.
Yeah.
I gotta wait till Friday. I just gotta get through till Friday.
Yeah.
That's all of the story. Back to Deadly Games here, or Dial Code Santa Claus, or Game Over.
It's awesome.
So we start off. Oh, it is. It's so good. So, like I was saying, we start off. We get this whole montage of him like getting dressed up like Rambo with all his toys and gadgets and stuff, and him like hunting down his dog and getting his grandfather and all that, and so you get that. But you also meet the killer Santa Claus too in the beginning too. So he's like this disheveled looking homeless dude that's going up to this group of kids having a snowball fight, and he wants to get in on the fun. The guy looks fucking creepy as fuck. I don't blame the kids for fucking running away. I mean,
that kind of
it's obviously
made you not sure what was going on, man. He was creepy, but it was like, is he creepy? Or is he just misunderstood because he's homeless? Or, of course, you find out otherwise.
Right. You'll find out really quick. But I mean, it seems like, he's not all quite there and stuff, which I think the whole mental health issue was a major key with this with him, I think. So you kind of meet him, you meet the family, the granddad and Thomas and his mother, and they're having breakfast and all that, and
Yeah, you can.
And then she goes to leave for
a good
work.
job. Like, it's a French film, but I feel like they did a good job of showing how much for a little boy, he loves his family. So,
oh yeah,
cares about
definitely.
his grandpa, especially.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, you really see that bond between him and the grandfather very, very strong, and him trying to help his grandfather just survive the night and stuff because of how weak and fragile he is.
Don't forget his insulin shots.
Yep, exactly. And that all comes into play later on in the movie. So, we get the story, going with the mother talking about this whole celebration for Christmas that's happening and how she's going to be home extremely late and all that. So that kind of sets the stage for all this to happen. So she leaves for work, gets picked up by her beau, who the family doesn't know that she's seeing yet. And she's telling him not to kiss her in front of the house because she doesn't want her.
I felt like the boy, he was so intelligent. He was hip already.
He wasn't buying that shit. He knew. So she leaves for work, and they're so just to kind of also set the stage for the setting of this movie. It's a fucking castle, basically. I mean, this fucking house is huge.
An impressive house.
It is. It really is. I mean,
complete
it's
with
like
secret
a fucking
passages, which I love.
Oh my god, I love that whole aspect of it, with having those secret passages and having his toy room where all those toys were, with the fucking bridge going across and all that shit. It was great.
It was supposed to be like the toys of his dad and his granddad and all that too. It was like they all kept it there as a secret and passed it on. That was neat.
It was so cool. It was so awesome. So the mother goes to work, and they're talking about what they need to do for this celebration. They're going to hire all these people, and it's fucking Christmas Eve, number one. This is the part where you got to kind of suspend your belief a little bit, because they're going to fucking hire people on Christmas Eve to work on Christmas Eve as performers and Santa Clauses and all this. So they're going to do this all within like a couple of hours for their celebration to start. So, but that's where things kind of work out, where the killer ends up showing up, seeing that he can be hired, so he gets hired, and he wants to play Santa Claus, basically. And so, we kind of, you got some miscellaneous things that kind of happen. Doesn't really move the story along.
He gets hired as Santa. Thomas is on the computer on the website.
That's right.
Trying to find out, because he's having, at his age, the typical "is Santa real?" questions, and of course he's got the one friend that absolutely says, "Hell no, he's not. You're a fool." But Thomas still believes, so he's on that website, and I don't know how this mental health guy tapped into the system, but Thomas doesn't realize he's not talking to Santa, he's talking to this lunatic.
Yep. And so that was creepy as fuck too. When that happened, then seeing him smashing his hands against the computer because he can't get to stay connected, because you have to pay, in order to stay connected, and basically like a payphone in a easier sense of things. So that happens, and then he gets hired by the company to be at this Christmas celebration for this company. And he's outside, he's, handing out candy and all this other stuff, and kids are coming up and saying hi to him, and he's actually, having a good time and enjoying this. But then you get the one kid who doesn't believe that he's Santa and says, "I don't like you. I don't like your face," or something to that effect. He ends up slapping this little girl, and he gets fired on the spot.
Yeah, right in front of the mother boss. She sees it.
Yep. So she fires him and tells him to go, to the HR department or whatever the hell they called it, to, get things settled for him being fired and stuff. And her boyfriend's in there talking about getting all these toys and presents and stuff delivered to her son, on Christmas Eve, and he overhears it. So he doesn't even stay in there. He ends up leaving, jacking the van, or getting in the back of the van.
Yeah, he gets in the back. So that's the first person you see him go after, is the van driver. And so I was like, oh, this guy is dangerous. This guy is fucking dangerous.
Yes, definitely. So he ends up at the the property, and then you have the caretakers that have their own house there, and the van driver's going to check in with them to drop off the gifts and whatnot. He opens up the back of the van. Santa gets out and attacks him, obviously, kills him, and then he ends up killing the caretakers as well. And that kind of sets things in motion, because now you kind of lost that one line of communication with the outside world. And that kind of just sets everything in motion with him, because he ends up...
Yeah, and of course, because he wants to believe Santa's real, he stays up late. He's got a trap set so he can be the guy who saw Santa Claus.
Yeah. Oh, and then before we get into that, because he does stay up late to see Santa, they were also talking about that the mother said that you don't want to stay up and see Santa, because if you see Santa, he's going to get angry.
Yeah.
Basically.
I forgot about that.
And that...
Yeah.
Oh, that just kind of fucks him up so badly.
Have said that.
Right. So before we even get into him going into, try to break into the house and everything, he ends up spraying his hair and beard completely white. Because before he was wearing the fake stuff. But now he's wanted to look like Santa. So he spray paints his hair and beard completely white. And then he ends up going up through the roof and sneaking in through the chimney,
which was awesome. Into the house. He actually comes down the chimney.
Yep.
And that's when Thomas sees him. He sees his feet. Santa's here. And then the dog's he's like, get away from him, get away. And then it quickly turns south for Thomas.
Yeah. That poor dog. That's because my wife was watching, and obviously my wife's very much a dog lover, animal lover.
Yeah.
And she can't stand watching animals die. And when that dog died, oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought
it was brutal, man, the way they did it.
It was. It was so brutal. Yeah. And then, oh my God, because first it's kicking the dog and then ends up stabbing the dog.
Yeah, or it wasn't even a knife either, man. It was like a serving knife. Those aren't regular. That took blunt force. So that was rough. And then Thomas knew, oh shit, I shouldn't have stayed up to see Santa.
Right. So before all this happened, he had the phone, because he's underneath the dining room table or whatever it is, and he had the telephone under there because he called his mother. Or his mother called, one or the other, and he was talking to her about how he wanted to see Santa and all that. Well, the phone never got ever put back up, so the psycho Santa is getting ready to leave the room and sees the cord running underneath the table. So obviously he's gonna fucking look underneath that table, and he sees Thomas there, and that's when the fucking chase starts.
Yeah. And basically doesn't end from that point forward. I mean, you get a few breaks in the action here and there, but not much, man. This guy's coming after him, and Thomas, like I said, I think he's smarter than Kevin McAllister. He had the advantage of already having his house a little rigged up. But...
Oh yeah, yeah. It wasn't like Home Alone where Kevin has to rig everything. Everything was already pre-rigged because this kid is just such a Rambo nerd. It's great. So he ends up running up, getting his grandfather out of bed because they need to go because this psychotic lunatic is in their house trying to kill them. And, they end up running throughout the house. They try getting in the car to leave. Santa's in front of them.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
That was a good scene. Oh my God, when he smashed his head against that fucking windshield, I'm like, this dude's fucking nuts.
He was coming for him, man. He wasn't going to stop.
Nope.
I don't know what he wanted, but I don't think anyone wanted to find out.
I don't think so either. So obviously that doesn't last for too long with them in the car trying to get away.
It fits into most of the rest of the movie too, man. There's a lot of cat and mouse, kind of a cat and mouse thing where the boy has an advantage for a moment, but then when the Santa figures it out, he counters him. So then the boy's got to figure out another way.
Yep.
They go back and forth quite a bit. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. I like how they finally get away and they go through the fridge, which is one of the secret passageways into that room. And obviously the Santa's not going to think to look in there because he thinks it's a fucking regular fridge. So he's still kind of walking around trying to find ways. And then the kid has this like arm contraption, which is like a camera monitor for all the security cameras in the house, which is great.
Yeah, it looked like a modified
back in the late 80s. Yep. It was great. So he's trying to watch Santa as he's walking through the house and trying to keep an eye on where he's at. And at this point, they figured they've got to get to a phone to call out. Because the one phone, I think the Santa cut the cord or something like that on that.
Yeah, I think that at some point he heard his mom's office phone ringing, is what it was.
Yep. So he's figured he's got to get up to the office, which is, once again, they're in this fucking huge castle, so it's all the way in this one wing up in the attic or whatever the case it was. I think it was up in the attic. Cause
I thought it was odd. They said office, but when we got there, it seemed very much like it was not. But
right, it was very attic-ish.
Those little things don't even matter, though. So.
No, it really doesn't. But so you got this whole thing of him trying to keep an eye on the cameras so that he can make his way up to this office. And obviously the Santa ends up starting to see these cameras, so he starts breaking them. And so, he gets up to the office and the Santa's there. So what does he do? He goes out the fucking window onto the roof of this castle, mind you.
Barefoot.
And try to get through. Yeah, exactly. So this is all happening, and the whole cat and mouse in this movie is just phenomenal. It's so good because it's not trap heavy like Home Alone was, but the cat and mouse chasing is what made this movie
a trap plays in
great.
effect every so often, but for the most part it's just the two of them, trying to outsmart each other and figure each other out. More realistic, honestly. If, with a house
definitely.
of this size, definitely could see something like that happening.
Yeah. So at some point, between all the cat and mouse chasing, he can't make a phone call. So the next best thing is for him to send a fax. So he ends up sending a fax saying that, Santa's here, he's trying to kill us, basically. And he gets sent to his little kid friend that was trying to convince him that Santa wasn't real, and then sent to his mom's office as well. So the kid sees it, and is like, oh shit, I gotta go. And this little fucking 10-year-old kid or whatever is gonna try to go help.
And he soon regrets, and then
Santa.
I'm thinking, damn, Thomas, you fucked your friend over hard. You should have never sent him a message.
No, definitely not.
That poor kid. He's like, I'll go see what's up.
Yeah.
Stay home, little Timmy, whatever your name was.
Right. So, Thomas ends up getting stabbed in the leg as he's trying to get out the door. And his friend shows up and sees him on the floor, and he tells him to run. Get out of here. Don't stay here. Of course, Santa sees him, and what does he do? He chases after the kid. Kid tries getting on his fucking bike and riding it, trying to get out of there as fast as he can. Ends up wiping out. Getting back onto the bike as soon as Santa's almost about to catch him, fucking takes off again. Finally gets across the street to where the Santa can't get him. I thought for sure that kid was fucking gonna die.
I thought he was dead too, man. I thought
he was gonna die.
What'd you do?
Oh my god. So that was like one of those moments in a movie where it's like your heart's just racing and you're just like at the edge of your seat, like, go kid, fucking go. I know you're fat, but pedal as fucking fast as your fat feet can take you. But oh my god, that was good. And then so things kind of keep going from there. Like we said, it's a lot of cat and mouse. We don't really need to go through every single scene. Yeah. It's just a lot of going throughout the whole house, them trying to outsmart. I mean, there's one point where he's actually...
While all this is going on, his mom is freaking out.
Is unaware.
Yeah. She is unaware, but she starts freaking out because she can't get a hold of anybody there. So, like, she's driving home, panicking, telling the boyfriend... Everybody's trying to call. Nobody can get a hold of them.
Yep.
It's like all this
trying to call as I
on there, and it's like this race of can we get a hold of them or get there in time? Because I just know something's wrong.
Yeah. So that part's great, and because then you have her when she's driving home wipe out and go off the road and get stuck. So that's then like the one thing that could help them at that point is like incapacitated for the time being, because the cops show up, and then that obviously doesn't go anywhere because fucking Santa shows up.
And French police,
right? So that's a go nowhere kind of situation because Santa shows up, and obviously we know what happens to the police officer. But so literally like nobody knows what's going on because police officer's incapacitated, and then the mother's incapacitated by crashing into the side of the snowbank or whatever, or the ditch, and the boyfriend finally gets the facts about that. That Santa's trying to kill them in the house. So he takes off as well, ends up coming up on the mother, getting her out, and then telling her that we need to go now kind of thing. And she's like freaking out, like, what's going on? He won't tell her.
Come with me.
And yeah, so once we get towards the end of the movie, the grandfather ends up being put in
he's hiding
a
out in the knight's
armor.
Yeah.
Just so that he doesn't have to keep running. Before this, though, because I was going to touch on this, but we got onto something else. The Santa actually ended up finding the fucking hidden room because he ended up opening up the
I believe it was when he was on the roof
noise.
hiding out, and they started talking by walkie-talkie.
Yep.
He hears it through the fridge.
Mm-hmm. So that happens. He ends up coming on the grandfather. And the grandfather can't see, because I don't think we established that. Is that
he won't admit it to it,
blind.
But he might as well be blind, yeah.
So you've got the Santa coming up on him slowly, and he's trying to figure out who it is, if it's Thomas or whatever. Finally realizes that it's the Santa Claus, and you think he's going to end up dying, and then Thomas shows up and pulls him out through the closet, because the other end of it's through a closet. And so they end up locking him in there. And then, because we get to the point where they finally get downstairs. They get the grandfather in the suit of armor and stuff. And then he gets lured into a sauna. Because they put one of the walkies in the sauna
that's right.
kind of lure him in there.
I'm trying to remember how that happened. Yeah.
Yep. So he ends up putting the bar through the door handle and locking the Santa in the sauna and turning up the heat as high as it could go to try to kill him. And then he finally gets the door open, obviously, because he's still alive. But yeah,
that's
so
around
that
the same
happens.
time I think
then,
Thomas starts panicking about the insulin, or finding the insulin for his grandfather.
Yep, so he has to go to the caretaker's house to get more insulin because they don't have any more. So they go out, or he goes out rather, is the grandfather's still staying there to keep him safe, basically, in the suit of armor. Gets to the caretaker's house, gets the insulin, and goes to leave. Santa ends up showing up. And then there's a whole struggle there, and Santa has a gun and everything. Thomas picks it up, actually fucking shoots Santa.
Yeah, man. I thought that was a tense scene. Like, I felt bad for Thomas, like, because you knew he had to do it. But he thinks this is Santa, man. So, like, and you could see that, like, he didn't want to shoot him either, but he didn't have no fucking choice. Like, he had to be a man at that moment, not a boy.
Exactly.
I was just like, holy fuck, dude.
Tough scene.
I was like, damn, this fucking poor kid.
He's already been traumatized enough tonight.
He just had to shoot
Santa. Ugh.
We need a sequel to this one, man. Or maybe that's
right.
Like Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Exactly. So Santa's been shot. We think he's dead. So Thomas goes back into the house, hurt leg and everything, muddy, dirty, everything, to get the insulin to his grandfather. His grandfather's not responding. Yeah. They try to pass it off as maybe the grandfather's dead now.
I was like, fuck. He just had to shoot Santa. Grandpa's out. I was like, come on. Don't be dead, Grandpa. Don't do this to Thomas.
Right. So Thomas unhooks him, So Thomas unhooks him, and so he falls to the ground in the suit of armor. And then he's pulling it off to give him the insulin. You know, he gives him the insulin and whatnot. And he's trying to wake his grandfather up. Santa shows back up. And Santa's like, almost like, why did you shoot me kind of thing. And like he doesn't know that he's doing something wrong and stuff. And so he's following Thomas into the living room by the Christmas tree. Well, Grandpa comes too. And the gun's laying next to him. So Grandpa picks up the gun, not being able to fucking see, and shoots. And you don't know if he hit Thomas or if he hit Santa. But Mom and the boyfriend show up, and you see Thomas still standing there just in shock, not moving, not blinking or anything. And Mom goes to comfort, you know, her son and whatnot, and that's kind of where the movie ends.
I thought for a second, I was
dark
like, damn,
ending.
did he shoot Tom? Like, these damn foreign films. They can be so fucked up sometimes. Thankfully, they didn't shoot Thomas.
Right. But I mean, knowing that he's going to be fucking scarred for life.
And I like how that's how they're just. And he says, "Mommy, it's my fault. It's my fault. I saw Santa Claus and he was angry or whatever." I was like,
right.
Damn. Mom just realized at that moment, damn, I fucked up. Why did I go to work?
Right. Oh my god, such a good movie though. Definitely, if you guys have listened through this whole episode, if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It's such a great gem. My god, if we're to rate this, honestly, I'm probably gonna give this a 5 out of 5 for a Christmas movie.
I'll give it.
I've been given a lot of high ratings.
It's hard not to, man. I'm
lately,
gonna give it a 4 out of 5 for one simple reason. Like, it didn't bother me, but I think it might bother some people. Like, there's a little, you know, I wouldn't call it continuity errors so much as it's little things like him talking on the internet with the boy, and like there's a little bit of loose connections. But the way the movie flows and all the stuff that happens, it's forgiving, very forgiving. Because once Santa. As weird as it is how he ends up there in the first place, once he gets there, the cat and mouse game and what this kid has to go through to survive, it's fucking awesome. So I highly recommend it. Maybe 4.5 out of 5 even. So. It's a great movie.
It is definitely one I'm going to be making into a must watch every Christmas holiday. That's for sure. And it's I highly recommend it. I mean, there's plenty out there that's kind of dull and whatnot. Because, I mean, if we were to, like, review something like Jack Frost, that's probably going to get, like, a 2.5 out of 5 for me. But that's just because it's not that great of a movie. It's still decent, but it's... Yeah. I'm just trying to make a point that I'm not, like, rating everything all 5.
You're just a lover, man. You love all these things.
I just love movies. But, yeah... Honestly, even with it being a foreign film and me not being big on subtitles, I still give it a 5 out of 5. I think it's the perfect Christmas horror movie. Kind of like Black Christmas is a perfect Christmas horror movie, and even Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah. And each one has their own
I rated
original.
That like a 4.
All of those have their own original story, and it just works.
Yeah,
man. Good stuff.
It does. I don't know. I think a lot of it too for me is just like the Christmas or the holiday themed horror movies usually rank higher for me. I don't know why. It's just kind of how it's always been though. But it is what it is. But it's
well, I think
some
too,
of my favorite
man.
stuff.
For me personally, why they rank high for me is, you know, Christmas. We all associate it with so many good things. You know what I mean? It's such a pleasant, wonderful holiday, and has so many. I mean, you know, as you get older, a lot of it has to do more with the memories than the current time. But so when you see these takes and see someone going through such miserableness, and man, you know, that's hard, man. Like, good stuff. Got to see someone suffering at the best time of the year, or it wouldn't be a horror movie.
Exactly.
That makes me sound fucked up.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, you definitely do have a point with that, because there's something just sinister about it. You know, seeing something like this happen during something.
I feel like when a horror movie can take something good like
holiday.
that and, you know, almost kind of not ruin it, but say.
But that's kind of our review on this movie. If you have seen it, let us know what you thought of the movie. As always, you can reach out to us through our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of them are at CLS Podcast. If there's any movies out there that you want us to review or anything you want us to kind of touch on in the future, or let us know what your favorite Christmas horror movies are. We would love to hear from you guys. But as always, we appreciate you checking out our episode from this week, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us today for the CLS Podcast. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.